All right, so today we have an interesting guest, a new company that participates in X-Culture for the first time with a very interesting name. When I first saw the name, it was BMW in some spellings and BMV in another, and I was like, oh, is that the car maker? And then I realized, no, it stands for something else. So what does that abbreviation stand for?
The abbreviation stands for, it's in Lithuanian, it will be Birstono Mineraliniai Vandenys. In English, it's the Birstonas Mineral Water Company.
Right.
So V, it's for water.
And so the first word, that's the name of the location? Or
yeah, the name of the location. It's the city. It's a resort city, very old. It's a resort city since Middle Ages. So Birstonas is a resort city in Lithuania, yeah.
So your company makes mineral water, right?
Only, yeah. The company, it specializes only in mineral water. So it's a specialized company. We do not do anything else, only mineral water, and the company is almost 100 years old.
Ah, so it is.
Yeah,
oh, it's not as
a long legacy, yeah.
So let's talk first a little bit about how mineral water is made, because most people probably have no idea. Like I have no idea. So do you just come to some sort of a well, and what is the process?
Okay, so good. It's an important point because mineral water is not made.
Right.
It's bottled.
Bottled, right.
Yeah, actually, maybe before this. Okay, Aiste, join us.
Okay.
Hi, Aiste.
Being late a little bit. Hi.
Actually, maybe let's do quick introductions because we have two guests here, and I skipped the introductions completely. So maybe tell us who you are, and then we'll talk more about mineral water.
Okay, good. So I'm Aiste Miliūtė. Nice to meet you. And I'm a founder of the company. And this is Marius. He is our head of export and all the expansion plan and strategy. So I thought that it's nice that we together, we will answer your questions and elaborate a little bit about our company and how we'd like to expand. I don't know.
Yep. So let's get back to then the first question. So mineral water. So we see the bottle on the shelf of the store. How does it get there? So as you know, as we were just talking, you're not making mineral water, you're bottling mineral water, right? But still, what is the process? How does it, get from earth to bottle? What's the process?
Yeah, that's actually the most expensive technology for the mineral water is that it doesn't change the water, what is in the source. This is what we have, and this is what I always believe that what we have in the source, we need to get in the bottle without any chemicals and without any introduction. So this is actually the technology which is supplied for us especially, and this is ultra clean technology which preserves the water which is in the source. So how does it get? We have two factories for the reason that one factory is more for Kvile water and the source there is more still and low mineralization. And another factory is next to the source, which is high mineralization water. And actually what is interesting that you can't get both different waters in the same location. So that's why we needed to build two factories. Because when the geological situation is like, we have a lot of minerals in the source, so you can't get low mineral water there. So you need to, the company started with a high mineralization water in Birstonas, and then it was along years when we researched and we explored and we searched for low, very high quality mineral water, and we found it in another city, in another location, and we built the factory there. So that's why it's for the natural mineral water is important that the factory would be next to the source. So we have a pipe going from the source to the factory.
And when you say a source, do you mean like a well, or what is the source? Is it
the well. Yes, the well. Yeah, the well. It's an underground source. So it's protected by nature itself. And it's no one can do any agricultural activities over there because it's like a resort.
It's a resort area
Yes.
that any agricultural or farming industrial activities are prohibited by a law.
Yes, so that's why we have this kind of quality of the water.
How deep is it? Is it extracted from? Is it like how deep is the well to reach?
It's not really deep. It's not about the deep actually, because it's always, I know that the consumers has this perception that more deep better, but actually more deep worse, because it means that the geological situation, it's not very rich of the water, so you need to go very, very deep to get the water, but it shouldn't be like that. It should the water, it's a geological thing, but less, it's until 100 meters is the best, because you have the large source. It's, for example, I can see in Aquila water source, you can source 25 cubic meters per hour, and this yes, it's 25 cubic meters per hour, and the same water amount will be recovered during this time. So it's, you don't make any harm for the nature by pumping 25 cubic meters per hour, because all these 25 cubic meters will be recovered during this hour. So more deep you go, less amount of the water you can pump per hour. This is
so at some point it is a finite resource. So if you pump out too much, then you basically deplete the.
Yes.
I never thought about that. That's an
yes, because it's these sources are it's recovering from the rain. It's like it takes around 15 years for Quillet to become a Quillet, actually, because it goes through underground layers, it filters itself, and it goes to this underground source, which is actually very stable. So the mineral composition of natural mineral water can't go up and down. So the mineral composition should be very, very stable. That's why it's certified as natural mineral water. Yes. So
do you need to filter it? So once it's coming out of the pipe, do you need to process it anyway?
No.
How about carbonation? So I know some mineral water comes with, bubbles in it and some without. Is this something that you just add CO2 to it, or is it naturally occurring?
Yes, for Vytautas and Birutė, we have some of the natural CO2. Actually, all the waters, which is high in minerals, has some natural CO2. But when you pump it, CO2 is very, how to say, very quick gases, and it goes out very quickly. So it's more marketing, like San Pellegrino and everyone, they said that we collect the CO2 and we add it one more time. So it's more marketing thing than the reality, because in reality you always add CO2 because it's too quick. When you source it from the source, it goes right away. It's a gas, so it can't you can't sustain it very stable. So for example, when you open the bottle, and you leave it for some time, the CO2 goes even when you so when it's natural, it's a very low level. So what San Pellegrino and other brands do is they say that they collect this natural CO2 and they put it artificially as well, like we do. So the CO2 is always the gas which is added for all the players in the market.
Now, in terms of what's in the bottle, so this is my mineral water, so I buy it at Costco. And so this one comes from Italy. And you would think that water, I mean, why would you bring it all the way from Italy? And I have no idea why, so far, like, wouldn't you find any source of water in the United States? Because it's inexpensive. I think it's, I don't know, it's probably like 30 cents, maybe 40 cents per bottle when I buy it. And so I imagine the transportation cost is high, but there must be something in it that makes it sort of worthwhile transporting around the world. So what's special in your water? So what makes customers buy it? Is it the taste? Is it the composition?
Yes.
Is it something else?
Yes, I think it's the most important for the customers is the taste, even though a lot of people say that the water doesn't have any taste, but when you can feel the taste of the water when you drink a lot of them. So that's the reason. And I think what is interesting about the water, maybe for, like Marius is selling the water around the world, and even in Philippines,
Yeah.
in Japan, we just made a contract. It's because you have such a unique sources. All the sources are unique. It can't be copied. So no one can produce water actually.
Maybe we can show it with numbers. Maybe some of the products, let's say the old brands, I don't want to tell their names, the Italian or the French brands, they are a little bit amorphic brands. They speak about branding, about pairing it with food, but they don't speak numbers. And in our case, we are a little bit more modern approach, more functional approach. If we speak about Aquile, we are the only water, I think now globally, that have zero nitrates. It means it's ultimately pure and also naturally alkaline. It has pH 8. No other competitor has both features in one water, in one product. So this is why people buy it around the world because of those features. They are unique. And of course, taste. The taste, if you try different waters, you feel the difference.
And I can attest that there is a difference. I was actually, as I was preparing for this webinar, I was watching a video about how water is made. Turns out that most of the water sold in the United States is just filtrated water.
Yeah.
It's not mineral, it's filtrated. But after filtration, it sort of becomes, there is no taste. And so people don't like it. And it's apparently not even good for your health.
Yes,
because if it's distilled, it kind of takes all the minerals from your bones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So they apparently add some stuff into it to add some taste. So yours naturally has all that stuff in it, right? So you don't need to.
Maybe I will explain one more advantage that our water we have, if we compare it, for example, if we compare with the producers from other parts of the world, Lithuania never was industrialized. And this is the question you told, what is made or bottled? Our water is bottled by human, but is made in earth because it's naturally filtrating and a natural process. And because the country was never industrialized, the soil is very clean. So it's made in a this is the uniqueness. It's clean, it's pure.
Yeah.
I think, and what is interesting about it, that the human body somehow feels what is tasty in the water or not, especially when it's not carbonated. When it's carbonated, it's all is the same because carbonation CO2 has a very high acidic taste, and it actually makes a water acid. So the carbonated water is not alkaline anymore. It's because it's acid. CO2 gives a very acidic taste, and it's when the water is not tasty, you put CO2, then it's good. So, but with still water, it's actually each mineral gives the taste, and when it's naturally so the chef is the nature itself. It makes the best taste for the humans. I think so, for the water. That's why I think Aquila is popular.
But I stand under one condition.
Yes.
If nobody spoiled the nature.
Right.
So our nature is not spoiled yet, and I think we'll keep it that way. This is why you ask again to a question why it's unique, why people buy it around the world.
Yeah.
So
and again, that's spoilage. That's a big question. I mean, obviously, you mentioned agriculture industry in the United States now. The last 10, 20 years, the fracking, hydraulic fracturing, oil and gas. So when they pump,
Oh,
you know,
yes, I know that.
the way
It's
they
very,
produce.
very bad for the
Yes,
water.
so
Yeah.
apparently, you know, huge areas get contaminated with the liquid that they pump into the shale to release the gas and oil. And so again, obviously, when you pump the liquid under extremely high pressure, it goes through the cracks and can contaminate the sources of drinkable water. And then obviously it can become not only not good enough, it may literally become toxic. And so in some areas of the country, that's a big concern. But anyway, so you got your water. How do you distribute it? So do you sell it in bottles? Do you sell it in like big, I don't know, jars,
No.
kegs? And is
It
it?
is put in bottles, in plastic bottles or glass. Glass, unfortunately, I don't have here, but we have both plastic and glass. Glass, of course, it's more for hospitality business or for expensive shops, but mainly it's plastic. It's the plastic bottles, and now, for example, everybody speaks about environment issues, pollution, and everything. So we are producing even RPT bottles, bottles from recycled plastic.
So it's
The
like,
bottles made of bottles. So yes, it's mainly plastic, small bottles.
but actually, this is, I think, is a very big issue in all the world, and we are participating in all the big summits, and we, how to say, everyone in the industry is pushed to solve the plastic
Yeah, yeah.
because it's a beverage, and the beverage is the most visible plastic.
Yeah.
And what is it important? I think that no one actually knows the better material for transportation
Right.
than the plastic, and it's actually the only one way to transport the water.
Yeah.
And especially in the cities, there is no other possibilities. Like we have cities where is no water is not drinkable, and that's the second most important thing for people
Of course.
after the air, because you need to breathe and you need to drink. This is a, so that's why I think it's very important to have a good quality water. In Europe, what we have that I think it's the European Union has a very good thing that they restrict what you can fill in the bottles, which is I think very good, because you need to fill just a quality water, not that what you can get from the tap, because
Right.
if you fill what is in the tap, it's really not good for the environment.
Yeah. No reason.
Yes, because it's no reason you fill it. So that's why we never fill the products which is from the tap. It's a product from the source without any chemicals which you can get in the taps and so on and so on. So
Yeah,
it's,
when it comes to pollution, it seems to me the plastic itself is not the problem. The problem is what happens to the bottle after we.
It is what we do with the plastic, the
Yeah,
problem.
in some countries, they have very strong recycling programs where you literally can bring it back to the store and get some money back. In others, nobody seems to care, so the stuff just ends up somewhere in the,
oh yeah, you're right. Yes.
or even just simply on the side of the street. So unfortunately, the rules are different in different countries. Yeah. But so in terms of your distribution channels, so do you sell it to stores, to central distributors, directly to the hospitality, like hotels, restaurants? What's your distribution chain?
Usually we sell ourselves to the retailers, but in some countries, it depends really on the country. For example, in Ukraine, Russia, all these countries, it's better to work directly with retailers, because distributors is not how to say, it's not well developed, I would say.
Let's talk about that for a second. So geography, before we even get to the store. So,
Yeah.
so you sell, I assume, in Lithuania for sure, but it sounds like you sell it in multiple countries already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are your customers primarily located?
Yes, primarily is a Baltics and Poland, Ukraine, Russia, so all the neighboring countries, because it's the best advantage
Right.
for the distribution for the price actually.
But I think in the recent year we have a very rapid growth of far export. Let's say France.
Mm-hmm.
Now we started production for Philippines.
Oh, that's like very far.
Yeah, Philippines,
actually,
Singapore, China.
Japan. You mentioned Japan as well, right?
Again?
You mentioned
Japan. Yes, Japan is the process is ongoing. It's very long because it's Costco retailer.
It's for
yeah. You did mention that you work with Costco as well. Yeah. So I hope we will see it in the United States soon too. So
I hope maybe after Japan we will open it in States.
It's a long process because what retailers do, like Costco, they do a lot of audits, a lot of documentation.
But in recent year, we really feel the very rapid growth of the far export, especially in developed markets.
I would say that there is two groups. One group is our neighboring countries, which we have an advantage of the price and so on. And another group where we have advantage of product qualities. So the customers, they are prepared to pay a bit bigger price, even though it's from Lithuania and Philippines, but Philippines doesn't have so much of the water resources like Taiwan, for example, as well. They don't have, actually all the waters are exported in these countries because they don't have their own water.
Yeah, that makes sense. In terms of regulations, so when you send water overseas, are there sort of strict, I don't know, certification requirements or import duties? How difficult, for example, is it for you to sell it to, let's say, France compared to sell in the local market? Do you have to go through a lot of additional paperwork? And
if in case of France, it's not difficult at all because it's European Union. So we are all under the same regulations. If we speak about, let's say, China, we are now also have the process of documentation. Not easy. It's not easy, but we do it. We go through it. It's a little bit different also with Russia. We do the requirements are different, so we have to make the different analysis, but we do it.
Because it's for water is actually like our distributor I think in Singapore said, for example, in Singapore, all the authorities wants that all the indicators will be zero. So we said it's not good to be zero. It's a bit harmful for the person that the water will be zero everything. But they really very different attitude to the water because
let's say in Philippines certification took us about 6 to 8 months. In Singapore, I think
you send them samples of the water and they run chemical analysis.
And the documentation analysis, and it took about 6 to 8 months. In United States, we are selling also, but not much.
Not much,
but it's very easy. We have FDA.
Yeah, I hear that in the United States there is really not much culture, for mineral water. And so most of the bottled water would be basically filtrated water. And they say that the market, at least again, I don't know, you probably know more, but from what I hear that in the United States, the tap water is much more regulated than bottled water. And they say when you buy a bottle of water, you never sort of know what's in it. It can be essentially not always safe. So the tap water, they always run tests. They always make sure that there is nothing harmful in it. But the bottled water, apparently, it's much less regulated. Again, that's what I've heard. So there is this myth that, drinking the tap water is safer in the United States than bottled water. So I don't know.
Yes, but as long as I checked in what happened in the States, maybe in natural water, it's different category, but the functional drinks, it is very growing category, especially the alkaline water. And if we speak about Aquila, we are going under this category, under alkaline water. And we compete with brands like Flow or Essentia. So it's a matter of under which category you are going to compete. You are going to position yourself. Because under natural mineral water, maybe it's really not so good idea to position yourself in states. Maybe people even don't know the difference between table water or natural mineral water. But if you say it's alkaline water, then consumers, they know how to recognize it.
For example, this is a product created especially for French market. It's the same Aquile. You can say that they position it as a zero nitrates, it's natural mineral water, and it's with a baby. So it's more positioned as a baby water with zero nitrates, and it's really functional positioning more than a natural because Lithuania is not France or not Italy. It's not really known. So that's why functional positioning is better in our case because of the product qualities and where we source it.
So let's talk then a little bit about competition and advertisement. So who are your competitors? And I assume there are quite a few. And then how do you advertise yourself to sort of to get through the clutter of many producers of different drinks? So.
Yes. So I think the main competitors is the biggest competitor for Aquile, for example, is Evian. Of course, it's not our level competitor. Is a big multinational company, but it charges the same auditorium like Evian, like San Benedetto in Europe. In Europe, I mean.
Yeah, it also depends on the market. Icelandic, it's a very direct competitor.
It's a bit more premium.
Yeah, it's a lot of glamour inside.
Inside is actually not natural mineral water. It's a purified water.
Yeah, but Fiji water, it's a very direct competitor of Aquile.
That Fiji thing here, it's so expensive. I never quite understand what's so special about it. Like Fiji water, it's like $6 a bottle, and I never.
Its distribution is very maybe expensive because from the island to distribute water is very expensive because no one distributes nothing, and the distribution cost is very high. In our case, it wouldn't be so costly. It's because you have ships going either way. So the cost, for example, why you have this Kirkland from Italy, because it's very cheap actually especially for 0.5, it's not so expensive because you can get a lot of products in one pallet and you can distribute these products quite competitively.
I think in case of Fiji, it's expensive because they are selling the dream of Fiji.
Yes.
It's a market, they're selling a dream of Fiji.
Yeah, probably more marketing.
I don't know how about the taste. I'm not sure.
A few times it's just water, so I guess I don't really. Again, I'm no expert, so maybe you probably have a trained.
But it's quite, according to the figures, it's quite good water because it doesn't have too much nitrates, so it really shows that it's from the area which is not polluted. pH is a bit, I think, I don't remember.
But they don't speak about the pH. Fiji, they speak only about the location.
Yes,
they say location, a dream.
Yes, exactly.
A dream of vacation in the Fiji.
Probably, yeah, I guess it's more of a sort of, image rather than the actual content that they sell.
Some of the water brands, sorry that I interrupt you, some of the water brands, they sell a lot of emotion. It's in case of Fiji, they sell emotion.
Yes, Evian as well.
San Pellegrino, they sell emotion. Volvic, yeah. In our case, let's say this way, we are quite small company from a small country.
Yes.
We don't have this budget to sell emotion, so we have to rely on figures. To sell, because in figures we are better. And
Yeah, that's my assistant.
Yeah, your assistants, yeah. I have a couple of mine too.
So in our case, we don't sell emotion, of course, emotion also, but we rely on figures, and our figures is much better than most competitors.
So
Like big.
would you say then for me as a consumer, when I buy the water, so if they advertise the content, that's good. But if they advertise emotions, maybe the water itself is not so good, or maybe there is nothing to brag about, or not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but for example, in the AVN case, or Volvic case, they are from France and they are quite polluted products.
Yeah.
So it's quite a lot of nitrates, and they, according to the EU law, they are not suitable for babies. So the one thing. Another thing is, I think it's the people are starting to take care what they drink, what we saw in all markets. And this is where the Mara said that the category of alkaline water comes, because the people are taking care, even though it's not really, how to say, some clear beneficial for health, but the people believe that drinking alkaline water is better for them, for the health, and so on and so on. Of course, this is better than acid water, and it's better than to drink water. For example, in Europe, and especially in France, they even don't consider to drink water from the tap, because it's the water with the chemicals and
Chlorine, everything, yeah.
yes, in order to keep water microbiologically safe, as you said, in the tap, you need to put a lot of chemicals. So that's why usually it's, especially in the Western Europe, they don't drink water from the tap. It's because of the chemicals in it. Yeah. For example, in Middle East, the same. It's actually impossible to in Israel.
In Israel, you can't drink water from tap, but the taste is awful.
Yes.
Yeah, in the United States and Canada, so the countries where I've been living primarily last quarter century. So here, everybody is very big on drinking tap water, and so usually it seems more as environmentally friendly. But the problem is, the big discussion is, one, obviously the chemicals that kill bacteria, chlorine and whatever else they add. I mean, this is technically a poisonous gas, and essentially you're consuming it. But then also there is this big debate going on about fluoride. So many cities add fluoride apparently to protect your teeth, and apparently that's a good thing. But then again, some people express concerns and say, well, maybe it's actually not so good for you after all. So I'm not sure if you have anything to say about that.
Especially for kids and for elderly people, for people which is sensitive, for pregnant women, for nursing mothers, since they have to drink a lot of water. It's really not really so. So mainly what we see, our target market is mainly women, because they are more interested in content.
Right.
What I say. For men, what I see, that they are more interested in convenience.
Right.
Or it could be more in minerals, like Vytautas Birutė could be more product for men's, not especially men's, but for active people, for sports, for athletes, because from the water they usually want something more benefits, like electrolytes. When you sweat a lot, then you need to get electrolyte back.
Replaced, yeah.
Okay, sure.
So going back then to advertisement, so do you do any advertisement yourself? Do you leave it up to the distributors and retailers to advertise? And if you do any advertisement, what are the channels? What is the message?
Yes, we do. In our local market, of course, we do the advertisement. In export markets, we do less. We rely more on distributors or retail. Of course, we coordinate, we speak, and sometimes we provide the materials, so we translate them. But also, you know, it depends on budget. If, for example, for a big market like Russia, we are not so big company, and these budgets we could not we cannot afford. But what we do, for example, we do
a lot of communication on the label.
On the label, also on the bottle we put it's called hangers. Explain the product.
So then when the customer comes to the store and looks at the bottle, they can get it, like when they're choosing which one. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So when we don't have so much budget for the media, we try to invest in as much as possible in the supermarket, in the point of sales material, in some social media and Facebook and Instagram. It's good, but it's really very far away from the place where the customer makes a decision to buy. That's the problem. So that's why it's very important to combine these channels. So to combine the channels, which is where the customer makes the decision to buy, and where some influencer or someone recommends it. So it's combination is very good. And what we saw from our export markets, that it's even very good to use the influencers not only on social but as well on offline. I said,
right.
Like, for example, if you concentrate on the, let's say, baby water, then you can go to the hospitals or the nursing or the special I don't know, special courses for pregnant women and so on. So this is what we did in some markets. So you really start from your ambassadors, even offline or online, then combine with the activities in the supermarkets, like, I don't know, some hangers, some labels, some games, or so it's really important to combine these channels, to combine where the customer buys the product and where you create an image. I'm not sure if I'm
actually, yeah, what you said makes perfect sense. I never thought about how I make my decisions when I buy my water, but I don't really know any brands. I don't recall seeing any advertisement ever, so I make the decision in the store.
Yes.
I go to the shelf, I see like 10 different types of water, and then I kind of look at the maybe price, maybe the way the bottle looks, and make that decision on the spot.
Yeah, you're right.
Probably much more important what's on the bottle, and especially if you have like additional hanger with information. Yes. Because if you advertise to me now, I think I will forget that by the time I will be buying water in 5 days anyway.
Yeah, because it's such a product which you buy, like, you know,
all the time,
like this, and it's either you have a very, very big budget like Avian and you advertise an emotion, and it's like a lifestyle. Like I know that Avian in UK became a lifestyle product.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a status product.
Status, lifestyle. So then it works. But when you have low budget, you need to be very, how to say, specific with your target audience and your channels.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. How profitable is the water business? And on the one hand, I understand it's not an expensive product, but at least in the United States, this is much more expensive, for example, than gas or milk. So a gallon of gas in the United States now is what, about $2? So it's about 50 cents per liter. A gallon of milk is also around $2 plus or minus. So it's also about 50 cents per liter. But this bottle is like 50 cents per half a liter. So the water in bottles literally is twice as expensive as gas or milk, although you would assume that it's cheaper to make. You just basically bottle it. So I'm curious, so is it a profitable business? And then if it is, who makes more money? Is it the retailers? Is it the producers? Is it the transportation company? Because I assume you keep only a very small portion of the total final price, right? How does it work? Can you explain us the economics of that bottled water?
Yeah, of course. So the thing is that but I'm not sure about the milk, how they profitable are, but in a bottling business, in our case, we make the profitability grows with the quantity. So this is mainly a mass product. If you sell a large amount, it's profitable. So you earn, in our case, it's better to sell on the lower price, so it's with a lower margin, but bigger quantity.
Right, right.
Because I know that there is some business model like Voss, they sell a lot smaller quantity but with a bigger price, so the profitability goes higher. But in that case, you need to invest a lot in marketing. So in our case, we think that you need to be in a fair price, not too expensive like Fiji, but more expensive than purified water, I would say, than just because what is the most expensive thing is actually a distribution and all this, because you need to have a factory next to the source. So you need to source very good quality water. You can't just build factory next to your consumers and filter it and make it drink just, the filtered water. So in our case, the how to give the people to drink very, very high quality water from the source, not how to say, so the cost is mainly the distribution.
Right.
For example, for purified water is easier because you can build a factory
right on
whatever
the spot,
you want. It doesn't matter where, you just bottle it, and that's why the costs are lower. In our case, the cost is the mainly is a distribution.
That makes perfect sense. I just
Yeah.
checked the prices. So yes, I wasn't sure how much milk costs, but so it's about $2.50 to $3 per gallon. So gallon is like almost 4 liters, 3.8. So yes, if you buy bottled water, you pay more for water than for milk. And I'm not sure why. Is it subsidies, or they just figured out a way to make milk so cheaply? So, but it is much more expensive than gasoline.
In our country, I think the milk is
more expensive.
More expensive.
more.
Yeah, maybe in the United States they just have some sort of either subsidies or incentive
I think
programs.
I think it's because of this regulation you have, because for the bottled water, we can't, and especially it's getting even worse for purified water. It's you can't just fill something which is how to say worse quality than the tap. So you need really to fill in Europe. And it's getting worse because with this plastic issue, they say that you can't bottle the thing which is worse than your tap water.
Well, what's ironic in the United States is that water like this is more expensive than the same container with Coca-Cola, for example. And I have no idea why some soft drinks are literally cheaper than mineral water. Is it, again, the image, the marketing? Do people find this healthier now? But if you just wanted to buy like bottled water,
yes, I think so that a lot of people wants to go from the sugary drinks.
Yeah, maybe just,
and switch, and it's hard to switch just to plain water like a tap water, and you need to switch to something carbonated.
Maybe
so
it's good for you, or yeah.
Yeah.
So the last question, I guess, would be in terms of how the students can help you. So we have about 6,000 students in the program altogether. You joined in the late semester, late track, so it's a little bit more than half of those are in the late track, and they will be making the decisions this week. So they have to decide by Monday which company they choose as a client. So we don't know how many will choose your company, but let's say there will be 500 students working on your challenge. So each one of them will be investing about 5 hours a week for the rest of the semester. So it will add up to about, let's say, 20,000 hours of work or so. Now, the big question is, how should they spend their time to make it most interesting for you? I understand the challenge or the task is develop, students, please develop a marketing strategy, market expansion strategy, and figure out ways for how the company can sell its product in more countries. But are there any specific things you would like the students to work on or to focus on to make it most valuable for you, so that all that time is spent well and not wasted on something that perhaps you're not interested in?
We are very open company. Since we are small, we need to adapt. So I think so. What is very good for us is that that we can open to all the opportunities in all countries, and the students which work on the challenge, they can, if they believe in products, they can work on this product later after this project is finished. So they can sell, they can be an agent, or we can.
And we had that in the past. We actually had in the past cases when students approached the companies. In fact, students, as you're watching, so you might want to do the same thing. So we had students in the past, in fact, every semester, there are quite a few who literally go to the local retailers, distributors, and ask them questions like, for example, how do you choose your suppliers? And I'm sure for mineral water, you will have, many stores in every city that sell it. So you can ask them, why do you sell this product and not another one? Are you open to selling mineral water from Lithuania? We have this company. Would you like to take a look at what they have to offer? And so we've had students who were able to convince distributors to buy in large quantities the product. And at some point they would go back to the company and say, can I be your local sort of sales agent? I like the process. I tried, it worked for me. So maybe we can have some sort of a contract. And so I don't know if you're open to that. Would you be interested in something like this?
Yes, that's what we actually Marius do. Is he has some agents, because you can't sell in Japan without agent. You can't sell in Middle East without agent. It's in France, even in France, even though it's very close to us, but it should be French who goes to the to the retailer and presents your products. So I think it's the agent or some joint company for the export. So I saw in a challenge we have this entry modes. So if they choose an entry mode, which is, for example, joint company or agent or something, which they think that they can be part of it. I think we really open to it. It
makes perfect sense. And for the students, again, many of you guys are in, major in marketing, in information systems, in strategy. It would be a very good exercise. I mean, the reason I like the product is because you can find this product in any city. And so what you can do, again, as a way of gaining experience in general, but also as a way of collecting information to inform yourself as you're developing the strategy, you can literally, interview 5-10 friends and ask them what they drink and how they make those decisions and what they're looking for, what kind of products they choose. Literally talk to the store owners and, ask them how they choose their suppliers. Then maybe go to the bigger distribution centers and ask them how this stuff works. And so even though you may not be talking specifically about the product, the specific brand of mineral water, but at least you will collect more information to understand the psychology of the customers, of the retailers. And then again, ask them, would you be interested in maybe buying a container of the water from Lithuania and trying if it works? So who knows, you never know what they're gonna say, and maybe they will say yes. And if so, maybe it will lead to something more for you. I mean, obviously you will get the culture certificate, you will get the recommendation letter. Hopefully the company will like your report. But if you do it right, it can literally become your next job or business, or at the very least, you will gain some very valuable experience in the process.
Yes, it's actually, this is, as I said, it's each new market for us is a new business.
Right.
It's
exactly.
Nothing, it's nothing else. It's some things works what we do in other markets, but usually it's totally, even in Poland, for example, it's a new business. It's totally new business.
Especially when it comes to to food or food items, that is very sort of localized. When we talk about, let's say, electronics like computers or phones, they're more or less the same everywhere. And even there are some differences. But when we talk about food, it's very, very, different tastes, different preferences, different traditions, different everything. And so, yes, obviously it would need to be adapted to the local conditions. Yeah.
So,
Again, I see an opportunity as a hint for the students. I mean, Lithuania, people know the name, but it sounds very exotic. So it's somewhere, we know that it's somewhere up north in Europe. Well, it is an opportunity, right? I mean,
yes, you're right.
it has this kind of mystique or this, aura of, cute little country somewhere in Northern Europe, and we don't really know much about it. And so I think that actually creates an interesting image. And for water, you want something, unique and pristine and a little, you don't want to buy water from, for example, like you said, like big countries like France, for example, or Germany, because they are associated with industry, not pure water. So obviously, that's not the type of image. So Lithuania with its forests and, pristine nature, I think that's the way, you want to go.
Yeah, of course, we will direct them, of course, if any questions, anything, we will totally support them. And for us, it's also interesting to see if international students, how everybody see differently the same product.
Yeah.
For example, we do different things in Philippines than we do in France.
Yeah.
For example, in Philippines, what we do on the label, we put it's from Europe.
Right.
It's important. The same thing we do also in Singapore.
Yeah.
So it's very different. It's culturally different. They see the product.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that all makes sense. All right, well, I think we got all the information. As I said, with your permission, I recorded this meeting, so the vast majority of the students will be watching the recording. There will be probably more questions, and so what we do, we know that you are very busy, so what we do is instead of asking you each time the student sends us a question, we create a catalog of the frequently asked questions, and in most of the cases, we sort of know the answers from this webinar, from the discussions, from the previous questions, and if we do know the answer, we just copy and paste it and send it to the student. But if it's a new question, which happens sometimes, then we will forward the email to you and ask for additional information. Yeah. And so the students have been placed in teams this week. So they will be selecting the companies next week, and then they will have 8 weeks to write the reports. So sometime in December, early December, we will have the final reports. Until then, we probably will have questions from time to time. So we will reach out to you, but not much else will be happening as we go through it. If there will be a lot of questions, we may ask for the second webinar. It may be more efficient that way than writing countless emails, but let's see how busy it gets and if we need that one. But yeah, it looks like for now we have all of the information, and I truly hope that the students will choose this company. It's a very important product. I mean, as you said, we all have to drink. And so, it's an interesting, fascinating industry. So yeah, let's see how things go.
And okay. It's very interesting how the students will see everything.
Yeah, and plus we have students this year from 83 countries. So I'm curious to see if there will be any sort of new ideas from some other parts of the world. Maybe some of the ideas they can borrow from their own mineral water producers or distributors. And maybe they have some ideas that, never occurred to someone, let's say in Lithuania or in the United States.
Sometimes maybe they can borrow ideas not only from mineral water producers, but also for healthy beverage producers, because the world's now they are because this water, it's not, for example, in United States, I would market it as a beverage, as an alkaline beverage,
right?
Alkaline water, so it's not mineral water. I think the students, they have to think it should be flexible. They should be flexible and think out of the box. It's important. Because when you think in the box, so you are going to compete with Evian and San Pellegrino. True. And David against Goliath only one time. It was in the Bible. Yeah. It will not happen again. So we have to think about maybe about guerrilla marketing, about creating something.
That is a very good tip, because you're right. I mean, there is probably not much the students can, come up with in the sort of mainstream marketing. I mean, water has been around forever. Big companies kind of got that market covered. So it would have to be something original, like you said, guerrilla marketing or some viral campaign, or maybe even not position it as water, but position it as you said, like a health and wellness product, right? So as an alternative to Coca-Cola, for example, or whatever people drink, at least in the United States, that seems to be the drink of choice. And so maybe it should be positioned completely differently, not as a, water or beverage, but as a health choice or a lifestyle choice. So I don't know what the students will come up with, but it seems like it's a very interesting opportunity here too.
Also, they shouldn't be afraid maybe of a small scandal.
Yeah.
Accepted.
Yeah, it draws attention. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe scandal, it's the cheapest way to draw attention.
Exactly.
Or if it's a big market like United States or Canada, so they shouldn't be afraid also go to a niche.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
niche is very big for us.
It's a very big for us, and also for us to target a niche is not so expensive.
Yeah.
If you want to cover all the United States, all the segments, it will be too expensive. It might be very expensive. But to target a niche, let's say a niche of people that love dogs, it might be a very concentrated message.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. So points. Yeah. How to target, how to think.
Well, students, you've been taking all those courses on marketing and strategy. So here is your opportunity to put it to a test, all your knowledge. And again, the reason I like this product is because it's easy to understand. So students know what it is. We have some companies this semester that make products that, like auto parts, and, not everyone has experience with them. Water, what's in the bottle. Now your task is to figure out how to sell it in a new market. And so let's see what you come up with. So maybe some of you will be,
and
interesting ideas.
I really ask them, be brave, not too afraid.
Right.
Even the craziest ideas, I want to see it.
Yeah.
especially the crazy ones.
Yeah, the crazy ones, especially, you're right, because as I said, in the mainstream market, sort of, I think most of those ideas have already been used up many times. But let's think out of the box. All right, well, be crazy, be creative, be original, and let's see what they come up with in 2 months.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time, and good night. And I guess for us, the day just starting here, so we'll be in touch over in the coming months.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.